Prakash Chaudhary over here in the class now, and
Yes, sir.
let
Good
me
morning.
start the class. Very good morning. So actually, the next topic which we are going to study is contingent contract. Let me show you that also. Meanwhile, everyone else will also join. So at present, we are over here. Let me show you. Yeah. So more lectures have happened, but we are, I think, able to cover not that much of syllabus, but for sure we will do it. Yeah, because this contingent contract and free consent, this contingent and the quasi contract, I would try to do it now. So up to free consent, we have already done. So this is the portion which we have done in your syllabus. And today itself, because these two are not that much lengthy, so we will be covering these two today itself, and then afterwards we will go for discharge of contract. So let me start with the contingent contract. So as per section 31, a contingent contract is a contract to do or not to do something if some event collateral to such a contract does or does not happen. For example, A contracts to sell B 10 bales of cotton for rupees 20,000 if the ship by which they are coming returns safely. So this is a contingent contract. Now this is actually this contract is dependent on happening of certain other event which is independent of the contract. Now here if you see the the ship by which 10 bales of cotton means there might be a ship on the seas which is bringing some bales of cotton. If the ship arrives, then only A will be able to provide B, and this condition he has put well in advance that I will be able to provide you only if I receive it from if the ship arrives, because if the ship arrives, then only he will be able to receive it. If ship doesn't arrives, then this contract is of no use. It means that this contract is actually based on something which we call is a contingency, a contingent contract. So contingent contract are those contract which actually happens for on occurrence of some events, or it is totally dependent on occurrence of certain events. These are called contingent contracts. Okay, so contract of insurance and the contract of indemnity and guarantee are popular instances of the contingent contract. Okay, so this contract of insurance and contract of indemnity and guarantee, this indemnity and guarantee we will be studying as in the special contracts under section from section 124 to 238, the second part, the part 2 of the contract act. Soon we will be starting that also. So under that we will be studying this indemnity and guarantee. But let me just tell you well in advance that what actually this indemnity and guarantee means. Indemnity is to make good the loss of someone on occurrence of certain event. So that is indemnifying. So making good the loss. Guarantee is something that if certain event will happen, if not happen, then I will give. For example, guarantee is in monetary terms, that I give a guarantee of a person that if he will not pay, I will pay the amount. So that is something you might have heard about bank guarantee or something like this. So this bank guarantee is also a contract of which is called contingent contract, because until unless the liability in contingent contract will not arise until unless the certain event happens. So if certain event happens, only then it arrives. So that what is called contingent contract. Okay, so contingent contract are also means these are also part of the contract. Okay, so we will be studying it now. So rules, there are certain rules regarding contingent contract which are given under section 32 to 36 of the Act. So According to section 32, what is the condition? The contract contingent upon the happening of a future uncertain event cannot be enforced by law until and unless that event has happened. If the event becomes impossible, the contract becomes void. For example, A makes a contract to buy B's house. If A survives, if A survives C. So this contract cannot be enforced by law until unless C dies in A's lifetime. So certain type of contract in now this is something which is totally uncertain. So then such type of contract will be void. So for example, another example is A contract to B a sum of money when B marries C. Now C has died. Now, when C died, there is no question. Now, who will marry A or who to whom B will married? B will get married. So the contract become void because there is something impossible which cannot happen. Okay. Now, the B part is contract contingent upon happening of an uncertain future event can be enforced when happening of that event becomes impossible or and not before. This is a second condition. Before happening of because that impossible event, if it is unhappening of that impossible event, then only it can be enforced. Now means until unless event become impossible to be executed, the contract is still valid till then. Okay, suppose A has contracted B certain sum of money if certain ships does not return and the ship sunk. The contract can be enforced when the ship sinks only. Now this type of contract is something which is related to type of insurances. So insurances contract are something which is of this B type contract. Okay. Now further, if contract is contingent upon how a person will act at any unspecified time, the event shall be considered to become impossible when such person does anything which renders it impossible that he should so act within any definite time or otherwise than under the future contingency. Means, for example, just take an example. If A agrees to pay B rupees 1000, if B marries C, so this is the condition. If B will marry C, then only A will pay to B rupees 1000. Now C marries D. Now he has actually made this contract impossible to happen. Okay, and he has actually conducted certain things which actually makes this contract between A and B impossible to happen. Now the marriage of B to C must now be considered impossible, although it is possible that D may die and C may afterwards marry B. That is another thing. Okay, but here at this point of time, it becomes impossible for this contract which A has done to B on if he marries C, then this has become impossible because C has already married D. Now it can happen only when if something happens to D and then subsequently B and C get married. So this is C type of contract. Next is your D is contract contingent on happening of an event within a fixed time become void if at the expiration of that time such event has not happened, or if before the time fixed such event becomes impossible to happen. Either it has not happened or it has become impossible to happen. Suppose A promises to pay B a sum of money if certain ship returns within a year. Now either the ship sinks or it is burnt with fire or has not returned before that particular time. So in that moment, this contract will not be enforceable. Okay. Next is uh, E, that is contract contingent upon non-happening of an event within a fixed time. So till now we were just studying happening of an event. Non-happening of an event within a fixed time may be enforced by law when the time fixed has expired and such event has not happened before the time fixed has expired. If it is it or if it has become certain that such event will not happen at all, maybe just because of the impossibility. For example, A promises to pay B a sum of money if a certain ship does not return within a year. So the contract may be enforced if the ship does not return within a year or is burnt, as I have told you. Okay, so next is contingent agreement. So previous case was the opposite of it. Okay, so F is contingent agreement to do or not to do anything if an impossible event happens are void, whether the impossibility of the event is known or not known to the parties to the agreement at the time when it is made. Okay, so A agrees to pay rupees 1000 to B if two straight line enclose a space. So this is totally void because two straight line will always be parallel. It will never enclose the space. Okay, so this is something which they know that it is impossible. Still, they are entering into a contract and see that there is a contingency, but this is an impossible contingency which will never happen at all. So accordingly, this contract will also be void. So contingent contract can be executed only if the dependency on the possibility of event is happening and it has actually happened, and if that particular event happened, the contract becomes valid and it will and it will be executable. So any question till now? Anyone? Either you tell me or you ask me or I will ask you. Okay, fine, I will ask. Prakash Chaudhary, what is contingent contract? Prakash.
Yes, sir.
What is contingent contract? Drishti Verma.
Yes, sir.
What is contingent contract?
So, when, so like if we have decided or a contract is made between two persons and one can one cannot fulfill it, then the law cannot enforce it. Like,
What you are saying? One cannot fulfill it, law cannot enforce it.
so I cannot frame it.
Contingent contract, I am asking. What is contingency? What are contingent liabilities? Any one of you? You might have studied it in 12th. Contingent liabilities. These are produced as a footnote in your balance sheet. What are those? Contingent liabilities are those that liability of the company if it will only arise if happening of certain event. For example, some case is lingered on, suppose for example for the payment of bonus act in the court of law, and because of that case, if the company will lose that case, it may have to give a heavy bonus to its employees. So this is a contingent liability on happening of certain event, or some other case is lingering on in the court, maybe for the payment of suppose the arrears of income tax, so which we have actually gone for waiving off, otherwise it will create a liability. We have created a liability, and if we lose the case, we may have to pay it off. So these are contingent liabilities which are shown as a footnote in the balance sheet of a company, right? So contingent contracts are similarly are the contingent contracts. It can be enforced only on happening of certain events, and if such events will not happen, you cannot enforce that. Okay, Matang Sharma.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Matang, what is contingent contract?
सर जैसे दो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट अपने बीच में साइन हुआ, एक
Sorry?
कॉन्ट्रैक्ट साइन, हेलो आवाज आ रही है
क्या?
सर?
हाँ बोलो।
सर जैसे अपन दोनों के बीच में एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट साइन हुआ, कंटिंजेंट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, मैंने आपको कहा कि मैं आपको कुछ अमाउंट का रुपए दूंगा, अगर वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट किसी फिक्स पीरियड टाइम में पूरा नहीं हुआ तो एनफोर्स हो जाएगा।
Okay, ठीक है, to some extent you are correct, but just go through it in order to clarify your doubts. Okay, You can even go through the video of this. I will, I think maybe today or tomorrow, I will be giving you all the videos of all the classes held till date. Then you can just have a look of it, and then we will be having a test and exam also. Fine. And if you are having any problem, you can just resolve it by asking me any question even afterwards too, right? Fine. So let us now proceed further. This is about contingent contracts. So next is certain relation resembling those contract, that is quasi contract. So nature of quasi contract. Quasi means actually half, means a person has means it is halfly done. Just see, you will be able to understand. A valid contract must contain certain essential elements such as offer and acceptance, capacity to contract, consideration, and free consent. So these are the essentials of a valid contract. But sometimes the law implies a promise imposing the obligation on one party and conferring the right in the favor of another, even when there is no offer, no acceptance, no consensus, and in fact there is neither an agreement or promise. So these are something very, very interesting. I have already given you one example. If you find a finder of a lost goods, you have found some purse somewhere lying on the road. So whenever you pick it up, there will be a contract between the owner of the purse and you, that you will actually take this purse to him, and you are entitled to all the expenses whatsoever has been whatsoever will be there in taking that purse to him. So this actually, there is no offer, no acceptance, no consensus, and neither there is a agreement nor any promise, but still this contract persists. Let us just proceed further with this. Such cases are not contracts in strict sense, but the code recognizes them as a relation resembling those of the contracts and enforces them as if they were contracts, and hence the term quasi, that is resembling the contract but not actually contract. Quasi means actually it resembles certain. Quasi things are those which are similar to it but which are not actually that. But these are again enforceable by court of law. A quasi contract rests on the equitable principle that a person shall not be allowed to enrich himself unjustly at the expense of other. So it is actually based on the principle of natural justice, which is called the principle of unjust enrichment. So you cannot just enrich yourself at the cost of any other person. So in truth, it is not contract at all. It is an obligation which the law creates in the absence of an agreement, when any person is in the possession of one person's money or its equivalent. Under such circumstances, in the equity and the good conscience, he ought not to retain it, and with injustice and fairness belongs to other, because it is justifiably belongs to someone else. So one is having no right to retain certain things, certain goods, certain money with him, because it will defeat the principle of unjust enrichment. So it is a duty and not the agreement. Okay, it is again a duty, not an agreement or intention, right? Which defines it. Okay. So a very simple illustration is money paid under mistake. Suppose, for example, you have paid some money by mistake to someone else. So it is a quasi contract with him, that, and what equity demands? That equity demands that such money should be paid back, because it doesn't belong to the person who is actually in possession of it. Okay. So this is actually more ethical type of things. Set quasi contracts are certain things you cannot you may not be able to enforce in the court of law, and sometimes these contracts are done in order to you can say, means these are not contract at all. There is no contract at all, but these are called quasi contracts, and sometimes you get to know only when the other person tells the court of law that this has happened, or by some other one or the other means. The court comes to know, the government comes to know that there has been a unjust enrichment of certain person. So following are the types of the quasi contract which have been dealt with in the Indian Contract Act. Number one is necessity supplied to a person incapable of contracting to anyone whom he is illegally bound to support. Means actually he is not legally bound to support someone. It is this even illegally written over here is not a correct word, rather. So necessity is supplied to someone who is incapable of contracting into a contract, and you are not legally bound to, okay, provide certain support to him and you have done it. For example, means you have just supported someone for the necessities. Next is suit for money and is received. Next is obligation of a finder of lost goods. I have already told you that, section 71. And obligation of a person enjoying benefit of non-gratuitous act, that is section 70. And liability of money paid or things delivered by mistake or by coercion. So let us discuss these things one by one. So the necessity supplied to an incompetent person. So contract by minors and persons of unsound mind are totally void. We already know this. Okay. So however, section 68 of the Indian Contract provides that their estate will be liable, their property will be liable to reimburse the trader who supplies them with the necessity of life. Okay. So if the necessity of life is to be supplied to any person who is needy, and he is incapable, or there is no capacity to enter into a contract, still you can recover your money if you have supplied necessity from the state of that person. But and in case if the person is not having any state, then there will be a question mark, your money may sink. Okay. Next is obligation of finder of lost goods. The liability of a finder of lost goods belonging to someone else is just like a bailee. Bailee is a person who is having the goods of someone else. So, for example, you have given your clothes for to the tailor for getting sewed the pant, okay, or shirt. So the shirt so the here the tailor who is actually sewing it on your behalf will be the bailee, and this is called bailment because you have lended your cloth to him for a certain period of time, and then you will be taking it back from him after getting it sewed and paying him his money. Okay, so this means that a person, he must make such a care of that goods as a man of ordinary prudence would do, as if it was his own goods. Okay, so it is when this bailment happens, so the other person actually must take care of that good which otherwise he would have taken care of as if it was his own goods. Suppose here I have given you example of tailor. So this is actually non-gratuitous bailment. I have told you the example which I have given you is of non-gratuitous bailment. Non-gratuitous bailment means the person will be charging something from you in order to make it a wearable cloth for you. Okay, and if you will not pay him the amount, he is having a right to exercise a lien on it. Lien means he will stop the goods over there. He will not allow you to take back your sewed pant from him unless you pay him his remuneration, that is the tailoring charges. But over here, if a person is a finder of a lost goods, then it is also equivalent to bailment, but it is a gratuitous bailment. Gratuitous bailment means free of cost. You have to take care of it, and within taking care of it, if you have anything which you have means you have spent something in order to take care of it, you can always recover it from him. So far as the real owner of the goods is concerned, the finder is only a bailee and must not appropriate the goods for his own use. He should not use the goods for his own use. If the owner is traced, he must return the goods to him. The finder is entitled to get the reward that may have been offered by the owner, and also any expenses he have incurred in protecting the and preserving the property. Remember the Lalman Shukla versus Gauri Dutt case, where the person find his son. So he was there, the things are totally different because he was not entitled. But if the prize or reward has been announced for the finding of certain dog or some property, or maybe the papers of the property or something like that, which somebody had lost somewhere, so at that time the other person will be entitled to get the reward also. And if he has spent some money in order to find the owner of the lost goods, then he is also entitled to claim those expenses also from the person to whom the goods belong to. Okay, so next is suit for money had and received. The right to file a suit for recovery of money may arise where the plaintiff paid the money to the defendant under a mistake or in pursuance of a contract, the consideration of which is failed, or under coercion, oppression, extortion, or such other means. So, for example, somebody has paid something by mistake to other. So the amount to be paid was rupees 500 and the person has paid actually 550 or 5,000 rupees. So the extra amount which you have paid, you are having all the right to recover, and the other person is also having the duty to give you back because it is happened under mistake. Second is in pursuance of any contract for the consideration for which and the consideration has failed. Suppose, for example, a person has entered into a contract to draw a picture for you, and after sometimes he met with an accident, and he has, though he has entered into a contract and you have advanced some money to him, and he met with an accident and lost both his hands. So at that time, he will not be able to draw a picture for you. So the anything which you have paid in advance, so it is his duty to pay you back. Okay. Third thing is if the goods are received under coercion, oppression, extortion. So these are the things which actually which are forcefully done. So then also it is required that the money should be restored or given back. So a debtor may recover from a creditor amount of an overpayment made to him by mistake. The mistake may be a mistake of fact or mistake of law, whatever. Okay, but the overpayment made is recoverable. Okay, so payment made to third party of money which other is bound to pay. So somebody else is bound to pay and somebody else has paid it. Okay, for example, where A goods are wrongly attached in order to realize the arrears of the government revenue due by B, and A pays the amount to save his goods from being sold, he is entitled to recover the amount from B. So something of someone else has paid in order to save certain things. Suppose, for example, one person who is residing in the neighborhood of you and you are not at home, and for 2 months you have not paid the electricity bill. So what happens that the electricity people come to cut down the electricity, and you have paid the money on behalf of him so that his electricity should not get cut down. So you are able to, and you will be and we will be, and the other person will be bound to pay you back that money which you have paid on his behalf, just in order to save the electricity cut from his house. Money obtained from defendant or from third parties. For example, where an agent has obtained a secret commission or a fraudulent payment from third party, the principal can recover the amount from the agent. So this is something which is related to the agency. So as an agent, if somebody has received some money, something, anything related to the contract of agency, then he is bound to pay it back to the principal, or you can say principal as having all the rights to recover that money from the agent, because by the virtue of the contract of agency, he may have got something, maybe legal, maybe illegal, whatever. Okay. Next is obligation of a person enjoying a benefit of non-gratuitous act. Section 70 of the Indian contract provides that where a person lawfully does something for another person or delivers anything to him without any intention of doing so gratuitously, and other person accepts and enjoys the benefit thereof, the latter must compensate the former to restore him the thing so delivered. For example, one of the two joint tenants pays the whole rent of the landlord. So he is entitled to compensate from his co-tenant. If A as a tradesman leaves the goods at B's house by mistake, B treats the good as his own, he is bound to pay for it. Okay, so these are two examples. Let me just give you one more example. Okay, one person who was going out of the town actually gives his cow to someone. So cow was there with someone, and he actually went for 6 months out of the country, and he gave the cow and he told that, okay, you can take the milk of the cow, but please take care of my cow till I come back. So meanwhile he comes back, and he found that the cow has given birth to a calf. Okay, so that particular the calf has actually been that's this is it is recoverable. So whom who will be entitled to have the child of the cow? Either that particular person who is to whom the cow has been given, or the owner of the cow. So the owner of the cow is having all the rights to recover that particular cow ka bacha from him. Okay, because this is something he has enjoyed the milk from it, but this was not at all contact. So it is a you can say something which is returnable to the owner. Okay. Next is liability for money paid or things delivered by mistake or coercion. So under section 72 of the Act prescribed that the person who has received money or things by mistake or under coercion must repay or return it. However, the word coercion is not necessarily governed under section 15 of this Act. Don't think that this coercion is under section 15. So because the things which are done under coercion, then law will make you responsible to pay it back. So it means and include some oppression, extortion, some anything which is even beyond section 15. But anything which has happened by threat, it is coercion. So it is here, it is taken as a broad sense. For example, payments of advance tax in excess of refundable is refundable by the income tax department. Sometimes we pay advance tax and we get the refund also. So that refund is something which is a liability of the government to pay you back, and it pays back you, because it otherwise there will be unjust enrichment on the part of the government. So this was all about the quasi contract. So please tell me if you have any question regarding the quasi contract. Yes. Any question related to quasi contracts? Anyone? Okay, Manan Goyal.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Manan.
Yes, sir.
Anything related to quasi contract, if you want to ask any question?
No, sir.
Okay, so let me ask you one. Okay, I'm giving you a situation. You have to tell me what will happen.
Yes, sir.
A supplies to B a lunatic with necessities suitable to his condition of life. Okay, B is a
Yes, sir.
lunatic, A is a normal person. A has supplied some, necessities for survival of lunatic who is actually insane. Now A wants to file a suit against B for recovery of the money which he has supplied as a necessities. What will be the situation? Would B being a lunatic will be forced to pay the money back for the necessities supplied by A? I hope you are able to understand my question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, tell me. B is a lunatic, पागल है वो, और उस पागल को A ने कुछ necessities supply करी. Now is A bound to get the money back from him for the necessities supplied to him? Anyone? Parth?
Sir, he is not forced.
Sorry?
He will be not forced. Force.
Who will not force? Come on. Yes, Parth. Parth Narendra Bhai.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I hope you have heard my question.
No, sir, I didn't heard.
So
Sir,
what
can
you are
you
doing
pardon?
in the class? Sleeping somewhere else, just putting on the attendance.
Not sleeping, sir.
Then
So I am awake only, sir.
you are away from?
Awake.
You are awake. Okay, then when you are awake, then please tell me what was the question which I asked.
I didn't hear you, sir.
necessities supplied to a lunatic, you can always get the money not from him but from the state. If the lunatic is having some estate, you can get the money from there. But if he's not having any estate, then it will be impossible for you to get the money. Okay? Okay or not okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Yes,
Are you
sir.
still awake? Parth,
Yes.
Zarinder bhai?
Yes, sir.
I don't think so.
Sir, I am awake only, sir.
Fine. Okay. Let me just give you one more example. Just see what have you understood it or not. This is a question to Ravi Raman. Are you there, Ravi Raman?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So please listen carefully, Ravi Raman. Along with Ravi, others also listen. I can ask anyone. What is the question I am asking? So, A's goods were wrongly attached to realize the arrears of the government revenue due by B. A paid the dues, released his goods from the government, then afterwards filed a suit against B for recovery of his amount. Can he do that? समझ में आया नहीं आया?
यस सर, यस सर.
बताओ.
सर वो फाइल शूट कर सकता है क्योंकि वो सर ए बी के अगेंस्ट में वो पेमेंट किया था तो.
What type of contract it is? What type of contract it is?
क्वाजी.
Sorry?
क्वाजी सर.
It is a quasi contract. Very good. Fine. Okay. So Ravi Raman, you suggest someone other's name whom I can ask question.
सर पुष्पेंद्र.
हैं?
पुष्पेंद्र पाल सर.
पुष्पेंद्र पाल सिंह. तुमको फंसा दिया रवि रमन ने. पुष्पेंद्र पाल सो रहा हो?
Yes, sir.
है.
Yes, sir.
तुम्हारे फ्रेंड रवि रमन ने फंसा दिया तुमको. So I'm asking you, A saved B property from fire. A has saved B's property from fire. Now A is not entitled to claim compensation from B if the circumstances shows that he intended to act gratuitously. What will be the situation? A ने B का प्रॉपर्टी बचा लिया, आग लगने वाला था, बचा लिया, थोड़ा पैसा भी लगा. बाद में वो बी के पास जाके बोलता है कि मेरे को जो है मैंने तुम्हारा प्रॉपर्टी बचाया तो तुम मेरे को 50,000 रुपए दो. बी को देना चाहिए.
यस सर, उसने जितना स्पेंड किया वो तो मिलना चाहिए उसको.
स्पेंडिंग कुछ नहीं हुआ, वो रिवॉर्ड मांगता. रिवॉर्ड
नो सर, रिवॉर्ड नहीं देना चाहिए.
क्यों यार? उसने उसका प्रॉपर्टी बचाया, नहीं तो आग लग जाता ना तो बहुत नुकसान होता. वो तो थोड़ा सा रिवॉर्ड मांग रहा है, देना चाहिए कि नहीं? बोलो बोलो पुष्पेंद्र.
यस सर, आई एम जस्ट
देना चाहिए कि
थिंकिंग.
नहीं रिवॉर्ड?
देना चाहिए.
अरे क्यों देना चाहिए भाई? रिवॉर्ड होता तो पहले अनाउंस करना था ना कि तुम मेरा प्रॉपर्टी बचाओ तो मैं रिवॉर्ड दूंगा. उसने ग्रेचुइटसली बचाया. यहाँ पे कोई कॉन्ट्रैक्ट नहीं है, कोई कॉजी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट नहीं है, कुछ है ही नहीं. Isn't it?
यस सर, यस.
क्योंकि why? Because वो अगला बंदा जो है वो खुद भी अपनी प्रॉपर्टी बचा सकता था ना. तो वो खुद क्या कर रहा था? He was also there. वो अपना प्रॉपर्टी जलते हुए देख रहा था और दूसरे को कह रहा था तुम बचाओ. समझा कि नहीं? बिकॉज अगर ये आदमी लुनेटिक होता, माइनर होता, एंड देन ए उसका प्रॉपर्टी बचाता, देन ए वुड हैव बी एबल टू क्लेम द थिंग्स फ्रॉम the property of B. Getting?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay or not okay? Okay, so अब किसका नंबर? हाँ बोलो, अब किसका नंबर लगाने का है? पुष्पेंद्र,
सर
किसको फंसाने का है?
लक्ष्यराज सिंह।
लक्ष्यराज सिंह. लक्ष्यराज सिंह, congratulations. Are you there? लक्ष्यराज सिंह is sleeping. अभी एब्सेंट मार्क करूंगा. लक्ष्यराज सिंह, पुष्पेंद्र वो तो है ही नहीं, किसी और का नाम बताओ जो थोड़ा जाग रहा हो.
सर हेमंत सर, हेमंत।
हाँ,
हेमंत।
हेमंत. हेमंत कुमार, आर यू देयर? हेमंत कुमार, वो भी नहीं है भाई. तुम्हारे सभी लोग तो सो रहे हैं. Who else? Who else is there? Who will answer? हाँ बोलो. पुष्पेंद्र पाल, किसको?
I don't know. YouTube.
गौतम गोधरा, आर यू देयर? गौतम. हर्षित. कार्तिक राजपूत.
सर
एक क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा हूं तुमसे. यू हैव टू आंसर इट. ओके, पहले बताना है यस और नो, एंड देन आफ्टरवर्ड्स यू हैव टू टेल व्हाट इज द रीजन. ओके, सो माय क्वेश्चन इज, द सिचुएशन इज लाइक दिस. A does not pay the amount of sale tax.
सर यू आर नॉट ऑडिबल. सर आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही.
Now is it okay?
यस सर.
Yeah. A does not pay amount of sale tax, and the sale tax authority bring a order from the court attaching A's property. Okay. B, a good friend of A, makes the payment to the sale tax authority. Okay.
Okay
Now
sir.
can B later on recover the payment from A? Please tell me the answer, yes or no.
No sir.
Huh?
Sir I don't know.
Sorry? You don't know?
Yes sir.
Tell me someone else's name.
Sir
Yes, Karthik Rajput.
yes sir.
Would you be able to answer this?
No sir.
No?
No sir.
Manan Goyal. Mukul Swami. Rahul Javaria. I will mark all of you absent now. Rohan Pingle. Rohan Modi. Shaurya Dikshit.
Yes, sir.
Okay, at least you are there, Shaurya.
Yes, sir.
I hope you have
Sir,
heard the question.
yes, I heard. Sir, he's not liable to pay because there was no contract between them. He just paid out of because they were
Yeah, he has
friends.
done a voluntary service, and for voluntary services, no compensation, no nothing can be paid. Okay. Chalo, right. Please participate in the Shaurya. Tell your class to participate.
Yes, I'll put a
Yeah,
message in the
otherwise,
group.
just speaking in front of computer will be of no use for me.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, so I'm going to end the class now. So let us just go for the attendance. So Chandresh, Chandresh Kumar Sigar, Drishti Verma, Gaurav Agarwal, Gautam Godra, Harshit, Hemant Kumar, Karthik Rajput, Lakshraj Singh, Manan Goyal, Patang Sharma, Parth,
Present, sir.
Prakash
Present,
Chaudhary,
sir.
Pushpendra Pal, Rahul Javaria,
Yes, sir.
Rakesh Raika, Ravi Raman,
Present, sir.
Rohan Modi,
Yes, sir. Yes.
Rohan Pingle, Sandeep Singh Bhati, Shaurya Dikshit, and Tirthak.
Present, sir.
Yeah.
Tirthak present, sir.
Yeah. Fine then. So have a nice day.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Bye bye.
sir.
Take care.